Alright, all I'm using here is just some gauze fluff, basic pharmacy stuff from hospitals. But basically what you're going to use is this for padding. And the easiest way to do it is I'll put it onto the hand and go about with a finger spread, go around 4 or 5 times. Since this is pretty thick gauze. How many times was that? That's fine. Okay. Then you pull it off, squeeze your finger scoop. Go ahead and cut it. Alright, what we're using is this smaller roll gauze. If you can get the larger ones, they sent me the wrong ones, but these will work. What we're going to do is start around the wrist. And you want the hand extended out a little bit, about midway up to the forearm for support. You could even actually put a towel or something under there. Going to start supporting the wrist here. Can you see it? Mm-hmm. Then I'm going to start coming around the index knuckle here. I'm going to go around a couple of times. He's keeping his fingers spread the entire time. If you'll notice, all I'm doing here is I'm building an X pattern. Okay? So, coming back around. Hold that with your thumb. I'm going to have him hold that with his thumb so that I can put the padding. And the padding, what we want to do is we want to put it to where it's just above the knuckles, because we'll end up folding this back up. So I'm going to put it just across the knuckles. Now reach under and I'm grabbing my gauze again. And as I'm going across, I'm pulling it nice and snug. Again, I'm going back to my X here. I go around the wrist. Now I'm going to have him holding my thumb again so that I can build the pad. And all I'm doing is just rolling it up to where it goes right above the knuckles. I take the gauze back from him. Start building my pad here. Make a fist. Open. Now again, I'm going back to the X. Back around the wrist. Back across the top. Pull it tight. And again, this is a little shorter gauze since we're using, we're going to be doing the kickboxing. For the MMA, we don't use as much because you're not allowed this much padding. Fist again. All I'm doing is I ask him to make a fist so that I can pull really tight across the knuckles. Alright, I'm going to stop it here so I can show you what it looks like. Go ahead. If you can see here, we've got the padding here right across the knuckles, and I've got good banding around the wrist. So I'm going to open it back up. Now this time we're going to have him spread his fingers wide, and now I'm going to do a little web to protect his knuckles here. So all I'm doing is I made it like into a little rope. I'm using my hands here. I'm using my middle finger and my thumb to hold the top, and my middle finger is going to hold the bottom when I come to the bottom. There. If you'll notice, I'm holding the bottom. Now I'm going to come back up to the middle, back under the thumb, back across, back underneath. So then from here, I start going around the wrist. You want to pull pretty snug around the wrist so that it'll hold the webbing in place. Now, I usually, because of MMA, I usually don't do the thumb much, but I'll show you how to do the thumb here. Basically, you're going to pull and go here and go back around this way. And you're just pulling against it, not real tight. Okay, and that's basically what it'll look like, make a fist. So he has good padding here. You can make it thicker, it just depends on, I think it's like 10-ounce gloves. Depends on how much room you have in there, if they're brand new. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape him up. This is your standard tape here. And this is where I want to pull even a little bit more snug. Right around the wrist. I'm pulling. I'm holding the hand with my left so that I can pull across with my right. To make sure it's nice and snug. Then I like to just go ahead and pull it off. So you'll see that the wrist is nice and tight. Now we're going to go back to that same X pattern that we were using. I start on the outside of that bone on the wrist, and I'm holding pressure here so that I can pull. You can see the tension on the tape here. As I pull across, I'm always holding. And then I pull it across again, switching hands. Back to the X. I've already started there, so I'm going to go back across. Go around. Is that too tight? Okay, so I've got the X here. I've got everything taping up. Make a fist. So it's starting to feel pretty snug around here. I want to get good support. Now, I'm going to take a little bit more narrow tape. I guess this is 1-inch tape. We're going to use the webbing like we did earlier in between the knuckles. It's just a long piece here. And then I go in, I squeeze it as I get ready to go in between his knuckles. So we're across the top, and it just goes all the way across to the bottom. And again, this is something that's an option in between. I prefer it between the knuckles. And it's just one strand in between each one. It's fine. Now we're going to go back with Going right over the top. We're using the same motion, same X pattern. Like this. How's it feel? So again, depending on what the rules are in Florida, of course for MMA, they want the tape to be 1 inch or 1 finger's width behind the top of the knuckles. So if you'll notice here, I've got the tape behind the knuckles. In kickboxing, you might just verify, but I think they may even let you put the tape all the way up above the knuckles since it's in boxing. But again, it's just depending on what the laws are there. But that's basically it. Ready to bang. Let's see.